Oh, man.
This is the producer now.
Yes.
Hey guys, this is part 6 where we are gonna talk about mastering of metal music. We made a track. Now 2 is gonna show us how we can master. We do stuff, we master.
Yep.
And today we master a song. How are we gonna do that too?
I am gonna do it how I always do. I never have anything going on my master bus. I mix the track. Then I need to open a separate session that we have going on here in the background, where I pull in the track, apply some of the fast tools I have for sort of what does this sound like when you start to squeeze it and stuff. And then I usually find little bits that, rather than trying to fix it in mastering, which would be stupid for me at least, go back to the mix, try and get those things sorted out. I cheated a little, and I did little changes to the mix that we prepared before. In the slow middle part, for example, the guitars, the just became like way too crazy. So I applied sort of like a DS, but in the low range, so that whenever these resonances would be kept in check. I found that with the mastering, I would like a little bit more punch from the kick drum, so I did that. I found some, and for me, usually that's a question of going back and forth between mastering and mixing. I sort of have the mastering in mind, I guess. It's not something I think about when I'm mixing. It's like sort of programmed in my brain, so I know what's going to happen later. And my mindset changes when I move into this session.
So let's have a look.
This is our song. First of all, I always have a few songs that I like to cross-reference with, like A/B test against something else. And it's not that it has to sound exactly like this or that. It's just that determining where I want the punch to be. Is it loud enough? Is it too loud? Is it wide enough? Do I have enough highs and lows, or is it too much of that? Like a quick reference to some records that I know really well, or productions I know really well, will help me like reset my ears and make me hear what's maybe needed to change in the mix I have going. On this one, no mastering applied at all.
Okay.
There is a little bit of a very low end going that would probably be a good idea to get rid of. Not really something you notice in a big way until you put a master compressor on, and then that low end, which is, below anything you can really hear, but it takes up like 50% of the power of the mix, so you get something go if you just leave it there. So that's why I do a low cut. And I have this thing, for a quick reference, it's a preset I have developed over time and I quite like, and works like this. Instantly makes everything louder, and as my preset says, loud and clear. It's a tiny bit of EQ, it's a multiband limiter and soft clipper. And this is the point I was telling you about. As soon as I move into this session and do this, I hear that it needs some clarity, some highs, and something like this that I prepared already, maybe even more. Trying to keep it simple. This is what I would do. Not very big EQing things, but sometimes I'll try and pull up something different, and just because everything behaves different in a different plugin or something, and it will help me decide if I'm on the right track. And then I have this problem solver. I don't really hear any problems with this, But it can be a very, let me just bypass these two frequencies. Okay, so that I kind of use it to try and find frequencies that stick out. And that usually shows in a way that once I pass that area, it will just be like a complete tone, like beep, all of a sudden when
Can you find one for us?
Like that one. And then if you take it away, you can hear that everything stays the same, but something annoying went away. And then it's very tempting to do like this, like just get rid of that shit. And that creates a whole bunch of other problems because this frequency has its brothers and cousins around it. So doing this will only make you hear the one that its brother, which is right here, and then you have to get rid of that, and all of a sudden you'll have like 20 of these, and that's no good because you're gonna fuck up the whole thing. But maybe just go a little subtle on it and not do it here. And just get rid of enough.
Yeah.
I did this already with a couple of frequencies, and if we listen, bypass, and then I think it might be like a simulation. You hear that little and now it's gone, and some of that, there are also some automatic plugins like Soothe that can do it dynamically, so it's like working on all these frequencies, which can also be very helpful. But sometimes I use this, sometimes I use Soothe, because sometimes these automated things or dynamic working EQs will clean up everything, yes, but I don't want everything to be too clean. You got to be able to really crank the volume. And this helps, getting rid of some annoying frequencies. But if it's too much, then maybe you lose all the life and the symbols. Not everything is meant to be tidied up in my world. A little bit of noise and grittiness is still allowed.
And then what? Then you are then you are comparing the track that you're working with something else.
Yes.
And how do you do it?
Kind of like this.
Yeah.
But also listening to longer bits, because your ear will adjust to what you're listening to over like 30 seconds or something. And then if you change, you'll hear, but this is really annoying in some way or something. But I use it to like adjust the loudness of how loud should this be. I know in the ideal world, I would just remove the soft clipper and, make sure everything was never put to the maximum output. Then the client will usually reply, yeah, it sounds good, but could you make it louder? And I'm like, yeah, but you don't really need to these days with YouTube, blah, 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 Spotify and whatnot. And then, yeah, that's cool, but can you make it louder? And then it's like, well, it's your money. If that's what you want, I will tell you why I don't want to do it. But at the end of the day, it's your money. So if you want it to play loud, it's my job to make sure that it still sounds good. And I think it still does sound good.
So why do you master? Because you like to, or?
Because I also sort of like that sound. I don't like the super squashed sound, but over the past 15 years or something, 20 years or something, we have gotten used to everything being louder and louder, and that also has a certain sound to it. Plus, we're all mixing for that same, maybe not the same level, but the same impact that music has to have when you listen to it on the radio or wherever, in the car. And I also like that. I like when, music is within a certain dynamic range. I don't like it to be crazily dynamic, where if you listen to it on the freeway in a car, you can't hear half of it because the other half is so loud that it's annoying for your ears. So, and plus there's some adjustments to the overall balance. It's like a weight scale that sometimes I'll do a mix and it'll be a little bit too much on the low end or whatever. That's what I tend to do. And you need to set the scale right and get some so you don't sacrifice clarity for boomy low end.
But besides your plugins, then your other tools when coming to masterings would probably be the meter and your speakers.
Yes.
Are you using the meter while mastering? Are you using it in context with?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But I also have to say that a lot of times when it comes to mastering for CD, at least, I'm shitting all over the rules that are there, because when it comes to loudness on CDs, a lot of people will say, "Oh, we don't want it to be crazy loud," but at the end of the day, most of them still do.
Yeah.
But of course, the meter will show me what's wrong and
How much you over?
yes, and will give me a little raised finger, and then I'll be, okay, maybe I can try this and that. And sometimes also with the...
So you are actually looking at it?
I am. Also nice that you have something there the whole time to tell you if something, careful now, rather than a plugin that you need to open and then look for it. That is something that's constantly there, reminding me.
Yeah.
And also the frequency analyzer will also help me see if something is way off the space, if something is getting crazy away or some low end that I can't even hear that I should get rid of. This looks good to me.
And one of your other tools is your speakers.
Yes.
Which is not the most expensive speakers that I've seen in the studio.
No.
Why do you choose to use these speakers?
Back in the day when I had no money and started out with the studio, those were the only cheap speakers you could get. And that was the only thing I could afford. So I started my whole career doing everything on these.
Yeah.
I think no one will complain about the early Nemec records, the Haunted Revolver and the Dead Eye and a shitload of other records that I did back in the day that were all done only on these speakers.
It's a Behringer Truth B231.
Yes. And at some point, I bought my Genelecs, which are behind it right now.
Yes.
The Genelec 8040, and I bought these big boys as well. But recently, I was like, because I never threw them out. They were just like sitting in the corner, and I brought them back out, and it just felt like coming home. It's as soon as I put music on, I was like,
Yeah.
I was in the middle of mixing the new Sick of It All record, and right away when I changed the monitors, I was like, I gotta make that bass drum like 5 dBs louder. And I did that, and everybody was happy. Everybody had a little, are we still there? Yeah, no, myself included.
Yeah.
And then I changed the speakers, and I did those 2 or 3 little changes that they told me to do, and then the record was done.
If it works, it works.
Exactly. And I think the lesson to learn here is, I won't say monitors doesn't matter, because they really, really do matter. But the main thing about it is you, the mixer, have to be confident with working with the sound you hear. And I have to say that everything I ever did on these never surprised me in a different setting, in my car, in my headphones, or anything. So for me, it works. I'm sorry. It's
Don't be.
it's not the most expensive thing. I got some expensive things around it, and I also use those.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm back to these, and I'm feeling very happy.
So when you're mastering a track, you're cross-checking. Can you show us a bit of that?
Yeah. I have 2 tracks. I have a Chimera track, production by Andy Sneap, and I have a Deftones record, Around the Fur, that I like to cross-check because it's productions I know for certain limitations or, certain things that I like or don't want to step beyond that area and stuff. And they tell me if I'm on the right track or not. And today, these are the 2 ones I brought in. I have a whole arsenal of different things for different types of productions, but especially the Deftones one is a really old record, but I think still holds up and today and has a lot of those same qualities that I'm personally looking for in my mixes. So it's not that it should sound exactly like these things, not at all, actually. But it just, I know what they sound like, and it helps me make sure that I'm on the right track or within the limits of what I want to do. And then it can also be a good idea to check on headphones sometimes, because once you start squeezing everything in the mastering, maybe you'll hear in the breaks that there are little guitar noises or the singer went and you forgot to clean up the track and stuff like that you want to get rid of. And you just hear everything different in headphones. It's no good deciding everything in headphones because it really can be deceiving in a lot of ways. But it's a good idea to always check it in headphones.
So too, this has been really fun to make the song and going through the whole process yesterday and today as well. And another 7 days we would have an album, I guess.
Yes.
We should call the song The Beast, I think. What do you think?
Yeah.
And what is the band called here? Are we called 2 and TC or what? We have to work on that.
Yeah. We'll get back to you on that.
That's not very hero-ish, I think. Masters of the Universe kind of have a better ring to it. We'll find out very soon. So for now, the Masters of the Universe will say arrivederci.
See you on the dark side.